Okay, here's the next one, where Sky Sports F1 gave Christian Horner the platform to broadcast to a global audience in the aftermath of the Abu Dhabi 2021 fix. So let's go through this video and see what he has to say.
Let's just come back to that and congratulate Christian Horner on a job well done. Wow, I've seen at times your feet going like a hummingbird's wing on the pit wall, but that is just like nothing we've ever seen. How are you feeling right now?
That just about sums up this year, I think, because I think I called it on the commentary that it was going to need something from the racing gods in the last 10.
You think you called it on the commentary? Well, you know that was part of the script, Christian. No need to pretend.
10 laps, and thank you, Nicholas Latifi, for that safety car. I have to say, with the stewards, we felt hard done by, early in the race. They did great to get the race going again, but
with the stewards, we felt hard done by earlier in the race. Well, you had to bring that back up again to incite the crazies. See, that's good reason. That's good reason why it's justice. Why they broke the rules at the end, because we felt hard done by on the first lap, even though Max Verstappen crowded another car off the track, and had Hamilton not have deviated his line, Verstappen would have hit him. That's not okay. It's not been okay all season, but the FIA have just allowed that. Okay, they did well to get it going at the end. That's not the stewards, Christian. That's race control, and they shouldn't have got it going at the end. So these aren't equivalent instances. One's a judgment call, okay, which in this occasion was right. In fact, they should be penalising Max Verstappen for that late lunge that made Lewis Hamilton have to deviate his line. The other is a procedural issue. That's not a judgment call. Don't try and compare the two. But that's what you're trying to do, because this is how you want to pitch this to make it valid. And it's not.
But it's been an insane competition, and for Max to win the World Championship, it's not just about here, it's about a whole year, and I have to say...
It is, and the reason being, we went into this Grand Prix, the final one of the season, with them level on points. Now, the reality is, Max Verstappen was gifted victory of the Belgian parade. There was no race there, there was no sport, there was no competition, it was a parade. Okay, nobody can win a parade unless it's a beauty contest, and Max isn't winning that. So therefore, that should have just been wiped off the calendar, because nothing took place. Nobody could compete, could contest for position. But what they did, they went, oh, we've paraded the cars 2 laps around the track. We'll claim that Max Verstappen has won the parade. Okay, we'll give him 12.5 points. We'll give Lewis Hamilton 7.5 points. There's 5 points extra for Max, and the title of a race victory. And all of you fans that have come along and paid your entrance fee to come and watch this Grand Prix, you've watched a lovely Grand Prix, haven't you? You run along now, you're not getting a refund, okay? But that meant that they're level on points going into that final Grand Prix of the season, although Hamilton should be 5 points ahead. And now Max Verstappen has got 9 supposed Grand Prix victories to Lewis Hamilton's 8, and hence he's more than happy to try and crash Lewis Hamilton out of the race, because if he does, he'll win the championship on the basis that he's supposedly got 9 Grand Prix victories. Okay, that's where the season-long narrative comes into it. But it's all down to this decider, the last race of the season. And they've just broken the rules to set it up for Max. So don't try and claim it's the season-long process now.
Look, all credit to Lewis. He's been a phenomenal opponent all year. He's a great world champion, and that's what makes it even more valid, to win this.
Oh, it makes Max even better that he's actually beaten a champion like Lewis. That's how you're trying to frame this, Christian.
In the end there, were you informed what Michael was planning to do? Letting those lap cars through and going green at the same time?
Screaming at him, let him race. That's what we...
Let them race, because that's what you've incited your strap-on, Drive to Survive fanboys that don't know anything about Formula One. No, there's a procedure that needs carrying out, and that is because there aren't just 2 cars in a Grand Prix. There were 14 left. All of them 14 were still in that race, all contesting for the positions. Okay, you can't ignore 12 of them and just set it up for second place to have a chance at beating first, ignoring all the other competitors, because that is what happened. That is exactly what happened. And you're not allowed to do that. Hence, there are safety car procedures to ensure that what you do, you create sporting fairness for all competitors in that race. Christian going, oh, we just wanted let them race. No, this is called a Grand Prix. It's not just a race off between two cars. You can't ignore 12 of the 14 competitors just to purposely set it up for second place to have a pop at first. And that is what took place.
We've been talking about all these years, let them race. And this championship came down to the last lap. And a great strategy.
A great strategy for the sport to manufacture it to come down to the last lap. Absolutely right, Christian.
Cool, to make that pit stop, to take that set of softs and then...
Oh, it was a great strategy on the pit stop, was it, Christian? Nothing to do with it. The pit stop would have been absolutely irrelevant had the regulations been followed. And because it would have been a safety car finish. So it doesn't matter what tyres Max Verstappen is on if you don't get to use them. So it's an irrelevance, isn't it? If it's a safety car finish, it doesn't matter what tyres you're on.
And it was down to Max to make it happen.
Can you explain what happened with the change of decision, though, from Michael Massey up top? Because we heard you saying, come on, what's going on here? And then Toto obviously taking the other line.
Yeah, of course.
So, Lazenby has to pretend that he is the balancing scales of justice. Has to acknowledge that there's two sides of this. So, yes, Toto will think this. So what do you think? And Christian's like, wow.
He would obviously do that, but...
Toto will obviously think that. So tell us, Christian.
It's unheard of to leave the cars unlapped. And
why, Christian? Why is it unheard of to leave the cars unlapped? Because since 2012, when the regulations changed for the start of the 2012 season onwards, they haven't left the cars unlapped, have they, Christian? Okay, it's unheard of, isn't it, Christian? You contested 198 Grand Prix under those conditions, Christian. This is the 199th Grand Prix, Christian. You've then gone into a steward's appeal after this, Christian, to contend that, the purpose of releasing the lapped cars is so they don't interfere. That's not the truth, is it, Christian? It's unheard of.
You can see they wanted to get the race going again.
They wanted to get the race going for who? Who did they want to get the race going for, Christian? For Lando Norris? For Carlos Sainz? For whoever? Or just for Max? Just for Max.
But they don't need to catch up the back of the paddock, so they...
No, but what do they need to do, Christian? They need to be given the opportunity, don't they, Christian? They need to be given at least one further lap of the safety car. There's been 4 occasions under Michael Massey's time as race director where he's kept that safety car on track for 2 laps after he's released the lapped cars to ensure that those released cars did catch the back of the pack. So even though the regulations don't specify that they have to, okay, so I'm not arguing with the sentiment of what you've said, you still have to afford them at least 1 lap, and the intention is that you allow them to fully catch because that restores sporting fairness to all competitors.
They made absolutely the right call.
They made absolutely the right call. So you reinforce that to the population when absolutely they didn't. You're lying to the population, you're giving them misinformation, but because it worked for you, because it gave you what you wanted, you are claiming that it is right. And it absolutely is not. You're a competitor in this sport. You've signed up to the FIA International Sporting Code as a competitor in this sport. You signed up to adhering to the regulations. You breached the regulations, and now you're trying to affirm to the world that everything's absolutely right. Absolutely disgusting is what you are.
But they don't need to catch up the back of the paddock, so they made absolutely the right call.
They absolutely didn't, Christian, so you've lied to the world.
Difficult circumstances for the stewards. We're all putting pressure on them. But
pressure is irrelevant. Difficult circumstances for human being, irrelevant. It's a sport. Deal with it.
But, they called it, they called it right. And
no, they didn't. But again, you're affirming that.
I'm just so proud of Max, so proud of the team for, what we've been through this year, what we've achieved, and,
You've achieved nothing, okay? You've been handed something by a corrupt regime, and you're part of that. So it's not an achievement, Christian. I'm really proud that we've achieved cheating our way to this so-called title. That's really something you can be proud of, Christian. Well done you. Well done you. That's the mark of the man who you are. Cheating little scummy rat that you are.
Against some fierce and great opponents.
And that last lap as well. He didn't just take the lead with an easy move, did he?
No.
It was a fight pretty much the whole way around the lap.
I've lost my voice because I was screaming from turn 5.
Oh, Jensen's really excited, isn't he? Oh, so excited, Jensen. And so is Christian.
All the way down that back straight. And, he got the job done into 5. And then, they coming back on the straight with the slipstream. And you think, but you just knew that Max was not going to give it up. He'd come, so far this year. And, then to close it out, see him cross the line, see him become the world champion for us after all these years. An amazing feeling.
How does this compare with your championships with Sebastian, feeling-wise?
It's right up there with the first one. We won the first one here, and then because of the.
How does it feel, Christian, to get a title by cheating your way to it? Does that make you feel like a real man, Christian? A real man?
The quality of the opponents that we've had this year, because they've pushed us so hard and we've fought so hard. The last 10 laps I was working out what am I going to say to Max, what am I going to say to the guys to pick them up. And then, a stroke of good fortune for us with the safety car, and we made it work. And it's not just about
And we made it work. There you go, with a little help from your friends at F1 TV, at Sky Sports F1, at FIA Race Control, and all of the other teams in the paddock for not calling out the fact that the rules were being broken to set it up for Maxwell Verstappen. We made it work. Well done you, Christian. Well done you.
This race is about the whole year.
Why don't you have a look at this last lap? I think we can show it you with you.
Right, I'm going to end this one here, because if I show footage, then what happens is it often comes along and gets blocked at a later stage. So I want this video to remain visible for a while, so I'm cutting this one off here. I will do a second part of this video after this footage has played and show you the conclusion of this interview. Thank you for your time.